Gen Z has a lot of challenges facing them. Finding the balance between mastering the internet and falling into brain rot, learning that the world that you live in might be melting away as we speak, and the overall uncertainty of this chaos-driven hot mess of a society. But perhaps the biggest issue that hits this generation the most is day-to-day loneliness. The situation is so bad that some call it a pandemic. But fear not, there's a fearless hero, nay, a goddess that can show the way to beating isolation and opening up to the world. Who's also a Disney princess?
When you wish upon a star.
Rise up, GG Nation, because it's time for Guidance Guide Friday, your weekly guidance lesson from your internet school counselor. No joke, Moana 2 is a case study in how to beat loneliness, connect with others, and even unlocking a new level of yourself.
Would you like to find out?
Let's go! It's guidance time!
Little sis!
I want to start us out by tackling the biggest obstacles that stand in our way to beating loneliness. And trust, what I'm not going to do is waste your time with cliches, telling you to go touch grass, bro, or saying that just being yourself is enough to solve all your problems. If it were that easy, you wouldn't be watching this. Instead, I'm going to give you practical tips on how to overcome isolation while showing how Moana did it. The first tip sounds random, but it will make sense later. Know who you are. Take out a piece of paper and write down as many words that you can use to describe you. The only rule is that you can't use words that are negative or focus on what you aren't or can't do. And I want to focus on the positive because many times, the thing that keeps us stuck and unwilling to venture out are negative thoughts. And when we let those thoughts live rent-free in our heads, we start to believe them. And it holds us in a loop of wanting to do more, to be more, but letting our own minds sabotage us into submission and then getting down on ourselves for being in our situation, and on it goes. But when we focus on the good that we can put into the world, it gives us the confidence we need to accomplish our goals, be it making friends or trying something new. When we have a positive connection with ourselves, it's easier to have a positive connection with others. And that's exactly what Moana does. Yeah, she's the chief's daughter and she's one of the most powerful people in Motunui, but she's not who she is just because of that. She's also adventurous, daring, willing to take risks and shake things up, and she has the confidence to take said risks as well as the determination to get back up even when her confidence fails her and things go sideways. And it's her infectious confidence that allows her to make friends at home and recruit a crew to reconnect the other island. And when she has moments where she does lose sight of her identity, she has someone there to help her remember who she is. That list will be there to remind you if you don't have someone there to give you an emotional pep talk. Keep this list nearby or somewhere where you always go. Make copies if you need to, because it's only after you've done that you can move on to the next step. Connect to your passions. On that same piece of paper that has all your good qualities, jot down another list of activities you enjoy. And don't get judgy on yourself. If you love gaming, throw it on there. If your favorite thing is some obscure sport that almost no one knows or cares about, write it down. Knowing what you love also helps you understand yourself, which in turn helps you understand others. For example, if you know why you love a particular show or anime, then it's super easy to have a conversation with someone who's also a fan. No need to overthink or second guess if the other person even cares about what you're talking about, because you can feel the connection being built as you speak. And going back to the princess of Motunui, her whole character arc is built on her passion for the sea. Take that away from her, and not only do these movies not happen, she and her people would have been wiped out by Taka in the first film. And though for us our hobbies aren't a matter of life and death, at least I hope they're not, they can also be the key to making new friends, learning a new skill, or discovering something new about yourself. And when we have an understanding of ourselves, we're able to clear some of the biggest hurdles when it comes to loneliness, self-esteem, fear, and anxiety. If we don't think highly of ourselves, we're tempted to think that we're not worthy of the things that we want, and that low self-esteem then morphs into anxiety and fear that you'll never change and your situation will never change. But when we know who we are and what we love, we can see ourselves in the proper light. And when we love ourselves, we won't live in fear of being alone, because what we have to offer and who we are is more than enough. But let's be honest, these are not the biggest reasons why loneliness is such a big problem. Because what are you supposed to do when you come up against the very thing that could cause isolation and loneliness? What do you do with rejection?
I am unclear as to what you are doing.
So you've planned it out. You know what you're gonna do, what you're gonna say, and you're ready to put yourself out there and meet some people. You're out and about, be it a party, event, whatever. And after looking for the right person, you find them and strike up a convo. But after you get in a few words, you realize the other person is a brick wall. They give you one-word answers and their body language just screams, Are we done here? That's the one thing that keeps most of us from defeating loneliness in our own lives. Rejection. Even though it can look different depending on the situation, at the end of the day, rejection at its core is no with extra steps. It can sound like, I don't want to be your friend, I don't want to date you, or even, I don't want to continue this conversation. And though most people want no parts of being rejected, studies show that Gen Z is especially sensitive to it, with one study saying that as much as 95% of Zoomers fear it. They also say that being shut down is a major factor in seeking out relationships, being dating, or just looking for a normal friend. So with this massive fear of losing out on the one thing you're trying to get, how do you get past it? And I'm going to be brutally honest here. The first step in beating your fear of rejection is accepting that it's gonna happen. This part is not easy because rejection hurts. It can cause us to feel that's all that's gonna happen to us when we try to reach out. And in response, we stop trying. But what ends up happening is that we let our fear own us, and then we hate ourselves for letting that fear own us. No matter what anybody says or how they present, everyone has been rejected. No matter their status, the size of their bank account, or how much riz they got, everyone has felt it. The thing that we're never told about rejection is that we have to go through it in order to find connection. Just like how most of us scraped our knees when learning how to ride a bike without training wheels, or how we're generally trash at something new when we try it the first time, rejection is simply scrapes on our journey to more. And when we look at Moana, she had her fair share of rejection too. When she went on her mission to unite the islands and look for a crew, pretty much everyone shut her down and came up with excuses as to why they couldn't join her on the high seas. Shoot, you can even go back to the first movie, where her own father rejected her desire to be out in the open ocean in the first place. We will get rejected at some point, but when overcoming loneliness is never about perfection or getting it right, whatever that looks like for you. Instead, focus on the attempt. You tried talking to someone, but it bombed and got awkward? Give yourself grace and remind yourself that you made a move in the first place. The other person seemed to want to talk to a rock more than you? Well, unless that person was just having an off moment, you shouldn't want to befriend someone who's going to treat you like that the first chance they get. So tell yourself that you just saved yourself a whole bunch of time. Just focus on whether or not you did the thing, not on whether or not you found your BFF. And after you've dusted yourself off from the sting of rejection, get up and try again. Even though Moana was rejected in both movies, it doesn't really feel like it. Ever wonder why? It's because she rebounded from the L so quickly that she was off to the next thing already. In Moana 2, just about every person she wanted to bring out to her mission said no the first time she asked them. That's rejection, plain and simple. But she didn't pack it up and quit. She kept going. Whether it was asking another person or convincing that same person who shut it down earlier, we don't dwell on her rejections because she doesn't. This goes back to focusing on doing the thing rather than getting a specific result. If you focus on whether or not you tried, something you can control, as opposed to whether or not someone reacted to you in a certain way, a factor you can't control, you get to determine the ending, not the other person. And when making that first move and trying, the best thing you can do is to try to make others feel welcome. Now, when I say that, I don't mean be a doormat or agree to everything someone says regardless of your own opinion. I'm talking about being relaxed, actively listening to the other person, and being invested in what they're saying. And even if you just froze up at the word relax, thinking, how can I relax if I kind of don't even want to do this? If that's you, then do this. Smile. Seriously, when you smile, your brain receives chemicals that allows your body to relax, calming you down, which reduces whatever stress and anxiety you might feel. And smiling changes your mood, making you feel better and more confident. And of course, being a decent human being who's not a jerk is gonna go a long way too. And guess what? Moana does all that. Whenever she talks to someone, she's beaming with a smile, full of confidence that would make anyone feel good. She isn't fake or rude. She listens to those around her and engages with them, even when she disagrees with them. One of the great poets of our time, Maya Angelou, once said, "People will forget what you said or what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel." If you feel good about yourself, it will show in how you connect with others. And if you make others feel good while still being your authentic self, then you will overcome loneliness. Because the truth is, we're tempted to think that we're the only ones fighting this battle against isolation. But that's not true. In fact, I'll take it a step further. You may think that you're alone, but you are not alone. When you peel back the layers of Moana 2, we see a quest of reunion. Moana is setting out to unite the other islands, as they were back in the ancient times. But the storm god Nalo keeps the other islands from reaching out to each other by sinking the central island, Natufutu. And when we look at our world, you can see a similar trend. Billions of people live on the earth today, the most amount of people living here in the history of humanity, but we feel so far away from each other. And there have been many theories as to what's causing it. The ever-changing times creating a backlash, the internet, and of course, every boomer's favorite punching bag, social media. But regardless of the cause, we see the end result. Just like how Motufutu was separated from the other islands, we are separated from each other. It can be physical because we don't interact unless we have to. Or it's digital because no matter how many chat rooms or echo chambers we enter, we know it's not 100% real. Or it can be mental after we've convinced ourselves that we can never beat this feeling of being forever alone. But as we've discussed, these are all lies. When we're willing to take a chance, to challenge ourselves and keep trying when we stumble, we will make progress. And when we do that over and over time we will see ourselves become someone we never thought we could be. It may look like being able to talk to new people without thinking about everything that could go wrong. Or it could look like having an eye for those who look like they need someone to talk to. Even if it's just being able to be around people without being gripped with anxiety, that's still growth, which is always the goal in the end. I don't know what your journey looks like or how far along you are in it, but I do want to let you know that if you haven't started, it's never too late. Make that list of your best qualities. Look for places where you can do your favorite thing. And remember, doing it perfect is not the point. The effort is. Learn from your mistakes and don't stop trying. As a result of her efforts and determination, Moana was able to reunite her people and become more than she could ever have imagined. Now the question is, who are you going to unite with? And are you ready to become more than you ever imagined? But let's hear from you though. What's something you can do to build community with those around you? Let's see it in the comments. I'm doing my best to respond to every comment now, so know that you're not just typing into the void. And if you want to help get the word out about this video, be sure you surf that subscribe button and send a like to the algorithm. And if you struggle with loneliness, there's a chance you might need some help with anxiety too. If so, check out this video that shows how anxiety from Inside Out 2 was actually good for Riley. See you there. Got it, Sky out.